Iceland. Hello everyone, I am Jennilyn from BCAED. So full disclosure before we start, our pronunciation of Icelandic words are not good. Please understand us. Iceland. Just the name invokes obvious clue where it is geographically. Iceland is a Nordic island country in the North Atlantic Ocean. The capital and largest city is Reykjavik. Iceland has many geysers, including geyser, from which the English word is derived. Here are our objectives. First is to know the different culture and traditions in Iceland. Next is to understand their folklores, languages, and religion. Lastly is to come across the beautiful people in Iceland. The culture of Iceland is rich and varied. Icelandic traditional arts includes weaving, silversmithing, and wood carving. The culture of Iceland were predominantly Scandinavian from the outset, but there are traces of Celtic influence in some of the ancient poetry, in personal names, and in the appearance of present-day Icelanders. Iceland is known having traces of Vikings. Now, let's talk about the cultural materials and traits of Iceland. Here is Mr. Gio to give us more about Iceland cultural materials.
Good day everyone, I'm Gio Escalona and I'm going to present to you the different cultural items in Iceland. First, what do you mean by the cultural items or materials? So cultural items are the tools, art, building, written records, or any objects that is produced or used by humans as part of their culture. Okay, now, let's move on to the different cultural items in Iceland. Íslenski búningur is the name for the national costume of Iceland. You will notice that búningur is from the same root as the Norwegian bunad. Fallbúningur, Aplutur, Pesufot, Scoutbúningur, and Kirtil are all recognized as Icelandic national costume. However, the three over here are traditionally daily wear of Icelandic women in older times, and two here are designed in 19th century as ceremonial costumes. Now, let's take more closer. Fallbúningur is an old type of costume worn by Icelandic women. It is a hat decorated with a curved sheet-like ornament protruding the air. Next, Pesufot is a black woolen clothes. They usually consisted of a twill skirt and a fine woolen yarn with a black tail cup. Next is Aplutur, consisting bodies that can be colored with bright colors such as red and blue, but often black, and its headdress is a tail cup. Next, we have Kirtil. It was designed to look like a Viking Age costume. And last, we have Scoutbúningur. It was conceived as modernized variation. It incorporates a complicated hat that inspired in one's traditional use. For men, Buningorkarla or men's costume exists in 3 or 4 radically different versions. The Jod Buningorkarla is the only direct descendant of traditional daily wear of Icelandic men, while the others were designed as ceremonial costumes. We are done with the clothing and costumes. Now, let's move on to the different musical instruments in Iceland. The music in Iceland is usually vibrant folk and pop traditions, as well as active classical and contemporary music scene. Here are some of the famous traditional music instruments in Iceland. First, we have langspiel. Langspiel have a very typical setup of just 3 strings, 2 of which are drones, while the third one is positioned over a fretboard, which is used to play melody. Next, we have Icelandic viola. The Icelandic viola or fiddle is an instrument that can be described as a box with 2 brass strings which is played with a bow. We are done with the musical instruments. Now, here's Miss KayeAnn to discuss more about the cultural items in Iceland.
Hi guys, I'm KayeAnn Bibon from BCAED 1A. And now, let's start with literature in Iceland. It is best known for the sagas written in medieval times, starting in the 13th century. Iceland has a fantastic storytelling tradition. Many tales and anecdotes belong in oral tradition and concern the Huldufolk, meaning a hidden people. Perhaps Iceland's most famous stories are the sagas, a big, bloody, muscular works that also bring a wisdom and sing with poetry. Most famous of all Iceland's writers is Halldór Laxness, who was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1955. He wrote everything from poems to essays, but his novel, Independent People and Iceland's Bell, are most widely translated. Huh? Bookworm out there? Okay, guess what's next? Arts. The history of visual arts in Iceland is fairly short, as the country's cultural production was for the longest time predominantly related to literature. The first half of 20th century witnessed a surge of artists strongly connected to the romantic self-reflection of the independence movement. However, the Icelandic artists quickly caught up with their international peers with the introduction of the avant-garde in the 60s and 70s. One of the most famous artists in Iceland is Mr. Johannes Benson Carval and his famous work Kidi og Gegg.
A great day everyone. I am John Christian Pornobe from BCAED 1 Block A.
And I am Wilmark Amores, and we are here to discuss the different cultural traits of Iceland. Before we proceed to the different cultural traits of Iceland, let us define first what is cultural traits. Cultural traits is a characteristic of human action that acquired by people socially and transmitted via various modes of communication.
Now, let us move forward to different cultural traits in Iceland. Icelanders have a spiritual connection to nature, which has been depicted through stories about Huldufolk or hidden people. It's easy to understand why stories of Huldufolk are prevalent once you experience the otherworldly nature of Iceland, including northern lights, crazy rock formations, howling wind, and desolate lava fields, where it feels that anything can happen.
The most predominant religion in Iceland right now is Christianity. However, prior to this period, during the 9th century, the early islanders practiced a religion called Northern Germanic religion. The religion is believed to be influenced by Norwegian fleeing from the monarchical centralization. The language of Iceland is Icelandic, which is considered a Germanic language. It has a complex grammar and accent. Icelandic love to think of their language as poetic and musical, and maintaining their language is an important part of their culture.
Iceland has a vast plethora of superstitions relating to everything from a sheep to knitting in winter. If you move into a new home, bring bread and salt so that your home will never lack food. But don't accept a gift of a knife because your relationship could encounter bad luck. Each year, Icelanders are involved in numerous celebrations and traditions. Some of these traditions span centuries, having been passed down through generations, and many are also entirely unique in Iceland. Here are some traditions of Iceland.
Ash Day. Ash Wednesday is Iceland's answer to Halloween. Kids are given day off from school and dress up in fancy, not just spooky costumes, and sing and exchange for sweets.
Tori, or Puri as we call it, is the personification of winter and frost in Norse mythology, and Icelanders celebrate it with a festival called Thorablot. Throughout the month of Tori, locals congregate to eat, drink, and be merry.
Okay, we already know the cultural traits and materials of Iceland. Here is Ms. Ronavilt to give us the conclusion.
We had a wonderful time finding out the different culture and tradition in Iceland. Understanding their cultural traits such as folklore wherein Icelander has a spiritual connection to nature, and Germanic religion which is Christianity now, and also they have a Germanic language, superstition, and tradition that they always celebrate and pass to every generation, like 12th night, Ash Day, and Thorin. Also, coming across the beautiful people in Iceland, wherein there are many material culture and cultural items such as clothes, national or folk costumes, and ceremonial costumes. We found out that Icelanders also into music, vibrant folks, and traditional pop, and they also have their famous musical instrument which is called langsopil. In literature, Iceland has a fantastic storytelling tradition and tales. And when we talk about visual arts, Icelanders were always there. They always have their many creative works including potteries, weaving, wood carving, and silversmithing. It has varied and distinctive scenery and fascinating history, society, and friendly people. It's a long way from Australia, but if you're in Europe or North America and at all adventurous, Iceland really should be on your must visit list. Iceland, the land of fire and ice, and land of light and darkness.
For further reading, here are our references. Thank you for watching.